I'm Stacy Kramer. I'm coming to you from Thatcher, Arizona, and today I'm going to show you how I make mini Philadelphia cream cheese peanut butter truffle cheesecakes. So as I said, we're going to use Philadelphia cream cheese, and we're going to actually use it in two portions of this recipe. First, I'm going to show you how to make the crust, and I usually use some kind of a cream sandwich cookie for my crusts. And then I'm going to show you how to make the peanut butter truffle portion, which has some of the cream cheese in it. And then I'll show you how to make the cheesecake, which of course has cream cheese, and we'll use the Philadelphia cream cheese in both of those. Okay. So first of all, let me show you the way we do the crust. What I've done is taken some peanut butter sandwich cookies, that have cream filling. And typically that allows you to use less butter because the cream helps to bind it. I did add 1/4 cup of melted butter to this, and you can see I've got that all crumbled up and mixed in. And then I'm adding this to my muffin tins, is what I'm using today, and I've actually put some cupcake holders in the muffin tins that I've also added some cooking spray to, just to make sure we can get them out of that when we're ready for them. And so what I've done is I've already started by preparing these. I'm just adding about 1 tablespoon of the cookie base into your muffin tin. You don't want too much in there because with a cheesecake, if you do too much of your crust, it won't bind real well, and then it'll start to break off on the bottom when you serve it or eat it. So we just want enough to be able to cover the bottom, and I'm going to press these in and get them good and firmly pressed into the bottom of the cupcake holders. Is put your oven, get your oven warmed up to about 425 degrees so that it's ready when you're finished with these. And what I'm going to make first is our peanut butter truffle, which will go into the center of these cheesecakes. And what I'm going to use, our first and main ingredient here, is about 1/2 cube or 4 ounces of the Philadelphia cream cheese. We're going to use the rest of that for the cheesecake. And then I've got, this is marshmallow cream. It's about 3½ ounces, which would be about 1/2 a jar, standard jar that you can get at the store. And you can save, if you have a full jar, you can save the rest of that because we'll use it for our topping later. So we'll add this in. Then I have here about 1/4 of a cup of powdered sugar. Add that in. And of course peanut butter. We've got to add that for the truffle. This is 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Okay. And then we also want a little bit of flavoring. I've got 1/2 tablespoon, of vanilla. And then a little more for moisture. I've got 1/2 tablespoon of milk. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this. Okay, so I just completed mixing up my truffle mix here that will go inside the peanut butter truffle. And you can see how creamy that is, which comes from adding the cream cheese in there. Makes it really nice and creamy. And so we're going to set this aside. We'll use that in just a little bit. So now I'm going to make the cheesecake portion. And again, we're going to be using the Philadelphia cream cheese. And this time we're going to use 8 ounces of that. We'll start with that. And I like to use it at room temperature. It just helps to get it creamier right away. And to this, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of sour cream. And then I'll mix these two together before I add any other ingredients. Get those mixing. Okay, and once those are kind of creamed together, the next ingredient you want to add is 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. So I'll go ahead and add that in. And I'm going to stop it once in between just to make sure that we get all the sides clean and get it all nice and mixed well. And you want it to end up being creamy before you move on to the next step. Get that going again and kind of turn it on a little higher to get it mixing. Okay. And then the next thing we want to add is I have 2 eggs here. So I'll go ahead and add those while my mixer is running. And get those mixed in real well. Again, I'm going to stop in between just to scrape the sides and make sure we're getting a good mixture. Portion finished. Now I'm just going to add a couple of things for flavor. I add a little bit of lime juice, about a half a tablespoon to my cheesecakes. It kind of gives it a little kick and a little bit of acidity in there to mix in. And then I'm also going to use about half a tablespoon of vanilla. Mixing. I have some melted, about half a cup of melted white chocolate chips, or you could use bars of white chocolate, whatever you have. And I'm going to add that while it's mixing. It's important because this is melted. You don't want it to get too cold too fast. You want to make sure it's mixing while you're adding it so that it doesn't start solidifying before you get it mixed into your cream cheese and cheesecake base here. Now I have my cream cheese cheesecake base mixture ready to go with my Philly cream cheese as the main ingredient. And then we also have our peanut butter truffle, which has the peanut butter and then the Philly cream cheese, which makes it nice and creamy. And what I do here, we're going to start to fill these muffin tins that we've lined. Remember, we lined these with the cupcake holders, and then we also have in the bottom our peanut butter peanut butter cream-filled cookies mixed and mashed up. And we're going to just take, I use my tablespoon. It's about a tablespoon and a half that you're going to put roughly in the bottom of this. And what you're trying to do is just cover the cookie with the cream cheese base. And then we're going to come along and put some truffle mixture in there. So we'll go ahead and fill these up. I started a few of them already. About a teaspoon on this of the truffle. And you're just going to drop or dollop that right in the center, because we're going to come back along with the cream cheese. You don't want too much because you'll end up overflowing your little muffin tin there. So each individual cheesecake gets a truffle center. We got those filled, and then I'm just going to take, well, you probably need about a half a tablespoon or so, maybe a little bit more, and you just want to cover that truffle with the cream cheese. And you're going to end up, they're going to be filled a little more than 3/4 full. And I was worried when I did it this full that I might have it spill over, but I didn't have any incidents in my oven of it spilling over. It seemed to cook up real well, so don't be worried about going a little more than you do, say, with a cupcake batter. Get all covered. Okay, and then you just finish this out, and then once you got these all covered and they're ready to go into that 425-degree oven, and they'll go in for about 20 minutes. What I like to do, because ovens vary, is to just test it. After about 15 minutes, I'd go in and see if the center is set, then your cheesecake is done. And I have some here that I've completed, that I have ready to go, and I'll show you how we can top these off. With whatever type of goodies you want to put on them. So you have them in your cupcake tin, and you're just going to remove them out, and you put them on your serving plate. This plate here, I actually put them all on one plate and put my toppings on, but it's kind of fun for kids or even your guests. If they want to you want to leave your toppings out, they can put whatever they want on their own. So either way you want it, filling cream cheese. So we get our peanut butter on and drizzle it over the top. And there's no right or wrong. If you like a lot of peanut butter, you put more. Or if you like less. One of them here, I'll put some more marshmallow cream. You could use white chocolate if you wanted to melt up some more white chocolate and put that on top. But since we had the marshmallow cream, I thought I'd use some of that and use my ingredients up. And then got some chocolate here on this one. This will be kind of like a peanut butter cup once you're finished. And then just put a few little chocolate chips. So there you have it, my recipe for Philadelphia peanut butter truffle cheesecakes. I hope you enjoy them as much as my family does.